The Upper East versus the Upper West, which neighborhood is the best? The classic argument between New Yorkers that actually live in the Upper East and the Upper West is which neighborhood is better. It has always been a big dispute amongst New Yorkers. I'm currently standing in Central Park, which, as you know, divides the two neighborhoods. I'm going to give you 5 reasons, break it down, and we're going to decide on which neighborhood is better after all. Those 5 categories include real estate and cost of living and options available. It includes restaurants, things to do, including shopping. The third we're going to talk about is the transportation options available and the convenience of those. We're going to talk about the parks because, well, I know Central Park is the biggest one, but each neighborhood has its own parks as well, other than Central Park. And lastly, we're going to go over which neighborhood has the best charm. Those are the 5 categories. Let's get into it. All right, so the first category we're going to talk about for each neighborhood is going to be the restaurants, shopping, and things to do. This one, restaurants, Upper East, Upper West, they both have a lot of great options. Some argue that Upper East has a lot more Michelin star rated restaurants. It's a very, very tough one. You really have a lot of choices for each neighborhood. Shopping, I would say the Upper East does inch out to be a little bit better than the Upper West, just because the Upper East Side is well known for all of its flagship stores on Madison Avenue. It is really a luxurious, awesome experience. You can go in there and find pretty much every designer brand on Madison Avenue, running from, my gosh, especially in the 60s. It can go all the way up into the 80s as well, but 60s, 70s, upper 70s is going to be probably the prime. And things to do, both have museums, Upper East Side between the Metropolitan and the Frick, and Upper West you have Lincoln Center. You also have the Museum of Natural History, different event centers, you have bars, comedy clubs on both neighborhoods. I would probably say maybe the Upper East Side has a little bit more, even speakeasies, but also, again, this is a very debatable subject. I would have to say, though, if I had to give it a ranking, which that's what we're here for, is I think since the shopping experience is better on the Upper East Side, I would have to give this one to Upper East. All right, so let's talk about the real estate there. As you know, my specialty. The Upper East and the Upper West, as of today, the median sales price, so the sales price that occurs the most for each, is $1.3 million. So majority of people are paying $1.3 million for apartments. So it's a pretty even comparison. However, there's a little caveat, the price per square foot. That means how much dollar you're paying per foot of space. Per square foot. That's where you get the price per square foot number. So in the Upper East Side, it's approximately $1,300 a foot, where in the Upper West, it's $1,500 a foot. You're paying more per foot on the Upper West Side. So even though it's $1.3 million on each neighborhood, you're actually spending more per foot on the Upper West. Another statistic worth mentioning are the amount of inventory, the available units. In the Upper East Side, you have about 1,300 available units right now for sale, whereas in the Upper West, you have 1,000. So you have less amount of inventory for sale in the Upper West, more in the Upper East, so you're gonna have more options in the Upper East. So again, the Upper East Side is starting to look like the better neighborhood here for real estate options. However, if you're in the luxury market, or I would say in the townhouse market, the average price for the townhouse in the Upper East Side is $9 million versus in the Upper West, it's $7 million. So if you're looking for single family, 2-family homes, it's gonna cost a lot more in the Upper East. And speaking of luxury, the real luxury market in the townhouse, I mean, those are, again, average prices. The upper prices for the Upper East, if you want super luxe, it can go up to $50, $70 million. There's no limits. But in the Upper West, most commonly, 20 million is like the cap for prime real estate. Now it can go up. There are certain outliers, but it's extremely rare. Again, I think the Upper East Side takes the cake. Right now, it's 2-0 Upper East Side. Oh my gosh. Could they be a shutout? Could it be a shutout? I don't know. All All right, the third thing, are the parks available? Of course, Central Park is the very best. So being closer to Central Park is a huge bonus. I would say there are more available apartments near the park on the Upper West that are going to be more affordable than the Upper East. But again, it depends on the timing. But let's just stick to just the parks and which neighborhood is better for park reasons. Central Park, I would say, obviously they have it both. It's right in the middle. However, on the Upper East Side and the very east side of the Upper East, there is Schurz Park. That is a big dog-friendly park. It's known for dog lovers and people that live very far east that don't want to walk all the way over to Central Park. They want to hang out on the east side. The park is on the water as well. It's nice, kind of small. That's their biggest and best one. Upper West, on the other hand, you have Riverside Park, and you have the entire Riverside walkway path. Oh my gosh, I'm having like a blank in my mind. I've lived here 15 years, but the West Side Highway, that's what it's called. So the West Side, the Riverside Park is going to be larger. It too is close to the water. It's also very far west for people that don't want to walk all the way to Central Park. It is larger than Schurz Park, but it's really the West Side Highway. It is that huge no cars, just pedestrian walkway where people get to run, walk, take their dogs. There's basketball courts and beach volleyball courts. There's all this stuff to do. It goes all the way down and up Manhattan. So that is a huge plus for the Upper West Side. I think the Upper West takes it. It's now 2-1 Upper East to Upper West. All right, so let's talk transportation options. Let's see which neighborhood is more convenient as far as transportation, getting around, subway access, as well as its distance to Central Park. So on the Upper East Side, you have the 456, they're known as the Green Line, but let's face it, us locals, we like to itemize the subway when we speak about them. We don't really call them by the colors. I do it sometimes and you guys get pissed, but whatever. I mean, I've been a New Yorker for 15 years. I just like doing it. I think it's easier. Anyways, you also have the NQ, which is the yellow. So you have those two different subway lines on the Upper East. On the Upper West, you have the 1, 2, 3, so the red line. You also have the A and C, which is blue, and you also have B, which is orange. So you have 3 different lines over there on the Upper West Side versus only 2 on the Upper East. In addition to that, there's 9 avenues, depending on where you're at in the Upper East, 9 avenues in the Upper East Side, so it makes it wider of a neighborhood. Whereas in the Upper West, it's 6. So Upper East is a little bit wider, so depending on how far east you live, you're going to be further from Central Park. So for these reasons, I have to give the ease of access of transportation to the Upper West. All right, now time for the hardest one to go through, and this is obviously subjective. So all of this is subjective, but whatever. This is why we're having these conversations to figure this stuff out. So the last one, we're going to talk about the neighborhood charm. Which neighborhood has the best neighborhood charm? Upper East, Upper West, which one has that neighborhood vibe that you're escaping away from the city? You have that classic New York feel. Which neighborhood is that? Well, if you go down through it, the Upper East Side, 5th Ave and Central Park West, if you compare those 2 avenues, they're quite similar in the fact that where you have these luxurious buildings, they're right near the park, Dormant, White Glove, really different type of feel, very luxurious, very comparable. But the thing is, I will say, to sum this up as far as the charm goes, in the Upper West, you have those charming brownstone tree-lined streets, and you have those in the Upper East Side as well. But the one thing that's interesting is that the restaurants and things to do, some shopping on the Upper West Side is a lot closer than how it is in the Upper East. Now let me explain. Yes, I did mention that there are some really high-end shops on Madison Avenue. There's also Park Avenue, which is nothing but real estate, so there's no shops and restaurants and things to do. So you have your pockets of restaurants in the Upper East Side that are closer to the park, but on the Upper West, you have rows of them on Columbus and Amsterdam. Like, before you have to walk, even more west on Broadway, you have them there too. So I think it's really nice to be able to have those restaurants and things to do closer to the park. Whereas in the Upper East, you're very far east. 2nd Avenue, there's a lot of restaurants there, in the 70s especially. But so it's kind of subjective. It depends where you live, but as I said earlier, there's still a lot of restaurants and things to do. That said, if you like more of a luxe feel and you like that Madison Ave type feel with those shops and those beautiful sidewalks that they have and the stores, you're gonna have that more of a luxurious feel on the Upper East Side. Not to mention, Park Avenue is right after Madison. So when you're going from those shops, you're going next to Park, but Park, you have those huge, the huge avenue from each side with all those buildings. It's beautiful. It's kept very clean. It is really an awesome, I guess, place where people just say like, hey, this is like where I live. I live on Park Avenue. It's been one of the most classic things to say for the longest time. The Upper West Side has its own version of Park Avenue. It's called West End Ave, but it's a little further west. So again, it really depends. It really depends. I mean, they both have that neighborhood charm. They both have those classic New York brownstones and tree-lined streets. They both have shops and restaurants. They both feel like really good neighborhoods. It's a really, really tough one. So, I would have to say this one I'm ultimately going to leave to you, the audience. I want you, whoever has the most comments, the Upper East, you put UES for short, or Upper West, UWS. I'm gonna show you some pictures and B-roll and like videos and stuff. You guys make up your mind and you vote on what you think is better. I have mine, but I'm not gonna include it in the ranking because I'm biased. I would say the Upper East is my favorite only because it's a little special to me, because when my first apartment was in the Upper East. My first job was in the Upper East. I worked as a doorman for Ralph Lauren before I got into real estate. Before I started selling millions of dollars in real estate, I would sit there for 8 hours at the door at Ralph Lauren and open the door for people and serve people drinks and things like that, and trying to think of ways and how I can get into real estate and continue to network. It took time, but it's humble beginnings. Every time I go by that Ralph Lauren store, I think about that. Every time I go buy a suit there, it's the most humble, awesome feeling ever. So I have to say, I'm a little biased. That's why I gotta take myself out of the equation, and I'm gonna leave it to you to vote on. All right, guys, so that sums that up. We are literally officially tied 2-2 for each neighborhood, with the neighborhood charm being up to you, the audience. So I'm gonna check back as I get a bulk of comments and update who's winning, but I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. Other than that, if you wanna continue to see the pros and cons of neighborhoods, what it's like living here, vlogs, inside real estate, all that stuff, be sure to subscribe and hit the button below, subscribe, hit the bell, that's what it is. See, this is the last video I shoot, as you can tell. My brain is getting foggy. I'll see you guys around. Thanks for tuning in.